Okay, and welcome to this special edition. Yes, we do special editions on occasion to our little show. This is Tea Time with Mother and Crone. And before we get started, this is a special little just kind of fill in segment to kind of let you know who we are and what we're doing. So, Mylinda is still going to explain what she is drinking tonight.
Yes, and I have lipstick on it. So tonight I'm actually having echinacea because you may or may not hear it in my voice, but I am getting over really bad allergies. And Pam knows because I spent the weekend with her and I couldn't breathe. But so I'm sipping on my echinacea. We've talked about all the goodies for that and immune system and everything. But we do have lustration this weekend for the Corellian tradition. And the tradition flower is the peony. So I thought it would be cool to talk about the peony in honor of the lustration coming, or actually that we are having, that we just had. If you're watching it now, it's Wednesday. If you're going to see it on Sunday, then it just happened. um, so, in honor of lustration weekend, I wanted to talk about that. It usually blooms in late spring. It's a perennial, and um, it has what it says. One of its greatest attributes is its longevity. Some peony plants are reported to be more than 100 years old.
Wow,
I know. I thought that was pretty fun.
it's really
And
weird.
yes, um, once established, peonies should not be transplanted, and the plants are tolerant of a wide range of soils, but will perform best in neutral or slightly alkaline soils that are light, fertile, and rich in organic matter. Um, it's called the blessed herb or the blessed herb. Peonies have been used for centuries for their magical and medicinal properties. Among the powers that peony was thought to possess are the ability to protect shepherds and their flocks, to ward off storms, demons, and nightmares, and to preserve the harvest from danger. And peony is the Greek symbol of healing and the Japanese symbol for a happy marriage and virility. And in the Japanese floral emblem, it is the Japanese floral emblem for the month of June.
That's interesting. I didn't know it was for protection. I mean, I've seen them. They're beautiful when they blossom. It's a very full blossom kind of thing. It's one that has a million little like pieces to it, you know.
Yeah,
So when it opens, it's beautiful.
it is beautiful. But and it kind of makes sense when I think of the tradition and it being how I can connect it to that, especially with the ancestors. The lustration is what we just had. But also, if you think about it, like healing, ancestors heal. This is the way I kind of go with me. It's my brain, okay? We know me by now. Our viewers will get to know if they don't already. But so the way that I kind of interpret that is it's for health, it's for longevity, it's for protection. And that to me is kind of what an ancestor encompasses. Like, because if you think about like your grandma is there to, it's comforting. And we even talked about this a couple weeks ago, how cannabis gives you that, like, I'm home, I'm safe feeling, like I'm home with grandma. And healing and how we, want to heal our, and, when they're sick and we think about, but also like longevity, like long life and protection. I mean, how often
Kind
do
of
we
what you
call
think
it?
of the tradition is long life, and you're kind of protected in the numbers. I mean, you feel safe in the groups.
Yeah, like strength in numbers, and I thought that was pretty neat. There's a few other things that is really interesting. I had no idea it had this much like magical history, and
I
it's
didn't either because to me it's just a flower.
yeah. Well, it gets better. So, the Chinese have grown this flower for over 2,000 years.
Wow.
Yes, did not know that. The name for it there is shoyo, which means the beautiful, and it is considered the flower of prosperity. So now we've covered Japan, Greek, and now this is the Chinese. One Chinese emperor called peonies roses of spring, and a single specimen sold for as much as 100 ounces of gold.
Wow.
According to the Chinese calendar, the tree peony is the floral symbol for March.
Hmm. I would have
So
never.
June for Japan and March for China. Um, so I thought that was really interesting. And then it goes on to talk about the medicinal powers of the plant. It was named for Paeon, physician to the Greek gods, and a student of Asclepius. And sorry, they have it's in lime green, so it's really hard for me to read. Asclepius, god of medicine and healing. Leto, goddess of fertility, told Paeon about a magical root growing on Mount Olympus that would soothe the pain of a woman in childbirth. When Pan went to get this root, Acephalus became jealous and angry and threatened to kill his pupil. Leto begged help from Zeus, who saved Paeon from the wrath of his teacher by changing him into the peony flower.
Aw.
Perhaps because of this legend, peony seeds have been given to pregnant women for centuries. It was also thought that the roots held over a person's head or around the neck would cure insanity. Other medicinal uses included the prevention of epileptic convulsions and soothing the gums of teething infants.
Did they say anything about what was in it that would help the convulsions? Or is it just.
It doesn't say, not in this article anyway. This particular article just had so much good stuff. Now, I was reading up on it on a different source, a medical source, and it's supposed to be really good. Chinese used it for kidney function, inflammation, a
Okay.
lot of things like that, as what kept coming up. Also for menstrual cramps and dealing with PCOS and endometriosis, which makes sense if it's supposed to ease childbirth. Why
Right.
would it help with that? Um, and then it's superstition warns us, however, that the plant is protected by woodpeckers. If you try to gather peony for medicinal purposes while a woodpecker is in sight, your patient might die. So these are superstitions. Um, but I love superstition. I used to have a whole encyclopedia of superstitions growing up. I just find them very interesting.
Well, they all have a basic note in reality and truth, but they
Right.
built on it to where it's like, oh my goodness,
I know, like the black cat, the opening the umbrella, all the ones we
13th
all know about.
floor, you know.
Right. So I thought that was interesting. It says the magical powers of peonies were thought to be even stronger than the medicinal ones. Mothers in rural areas hung strings of peony seeds around an infant's neck as protection against the evil eye. The seeds, particularly if soaked in rainwater, were worn as an amulet for protection against witchcraft and the devil. Now I don't like that. I don't like that one.
No, well, the last part of it, yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the first part.
Right. It's funny because it talks about magical properties and then it's talking about against witchcraft.
Yes.
Okay. Pretend we didn't say that part. I'm kidding. The plant's reputation for supernatural powers was enhanced by its phosphorescent qualities. Some plants actually glow in the dark. I had
Really?
no idea. Yeah. For the most potent magical power, seeds and roots were gathered in the dead of night. The first peonies considered important healing herbs were brought to England by the Roman legions in 1200.
Wow.
They have been cherished in England since then, first for their medicinal value and then for their unparalleled beauty, and peonies have been in the United States since early colonial days. For the Philadelphia Centennial Exposition in 1876, peony was used to symbolize the American spirit, ambition, and determination to adapt and thrive.
Now, see, I would if you would have asked me about it, I would have told you it was from England
Yeah,
because that's where I've always seen it. You know, they make a big deal out of their gardens. The English have the most lavish gardens, and they grow a lot of peonies in them. And I would have just thought out of, the top of my head that they were
yeah.
from England.
I would too. And this is really cute. And this is the last thing that I have. The only country ever named for a flower was Paeonia, located in what is now northern Greece. It was a legitimate country, complete with government, army, and imperial ring, but it was conquered during the Persian Wars.
Wow.
There
That
was a whole country about surrounding the peony. That is insane.
Well, that kind of makes sense why we would have it as our flower because it encompasses a whole tradition, which is 29 countries at this point
Exactly. And
and
it's
growing.
peony is the state flower of Indiana here in the US. I did not know that. And the language of peony, it says, is a shame, for it was thought to be the hiding place of a dishonorable nymph.
Really? Must have been
Yeah,
one of my relatives.
I know. And this is, I don't know how clear this will be, but this is what it looks like. Try
They're
to.
absolutely gorgeous no matter how you look at them. They're just a very full. And in fact, my hats, those are the flowers on my hats.
Oh, how awesome. And you didn't even
I
realize.
didn't
Look.
even realize it. I knew they were peonies because I know the flower, and it was just like it's such a full flower
There,
artificially that you can put on something that is full enough that when you sew it on, it still has its fullness and covers up all the stitches and all that you had to do to get it on the hat.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
a
I would just
cool
I know we took up a lot of time with that, but it was just too interesting not to include that, especially with being the tradition flower.
tradition,
I think it was perfect timing.
We all need to get peonies now to have at
I
home for our tradition.
We do.
That's kind of cool. Now, I said this was a special segment. This is a get to know us segment. That's why we're not in uniform tonight. We kind of picked our own. Uh, Last weekend was an interesting weekend. My t shirt is from Mylinda, and I'm going to stand up so y'all get a good hint. Bats. Um,
Just a girl who loves bats.
yes. And Melinda got that. Bats are my totem animal, my spirit animal. So it's kind of cool. Last week was a full week. It was an interesting week, my birthday week. So I've had a great time. We, went out and had parties. But we're going to talk a little bit about who we are because you guys see us on the show every week, and you might not know who we really are and what we really do for real. Um, so we're going to give you a quick heads up on our background. So everybody get your pencil and paper ready and take notes. No, just kidding.
Yes. At one point you'll want to, because we'll be giving out information as far as how to contact various.
Yes, it's pretty interesting. I have been on this path for 52 years this fall. It's kind of 51 years this fall, 1969. So yeah, it will be 52 years. Oh God, I'm getting old. Can't remember all of this. But I started on the path over 50 years ago. I have been with the Corellian tradition for over 20 years. So I got a few years under my belt here. I've done a lot. I was very big in the pagan community in Baltimore. I moved to Florida about 6 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. So I've been down here since. I really haven't done a whole lot down here. Florida is a different creature. And where I'm at, even though I'm in the artsy fartsy section and I'm, in a really good section, there doesn't seem to be a lot of pagans on this side of the state. So I have to travel all the way to see Melinda for my paganism, which is, it's sad because
But
I
we
would have thought we would have had a lot here, seriously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't. So it's kind of dry here, but I
Maybe
enjoy
more
living
in the
here.
Tampa area.
There's not a lot of pagans in the area anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, I've kind of put my feelers out because I've worked in a couple of different jobs here, and most people are like, "Oh, we think we know somebody," And I've met a couple of the people who practice around here, and there's um, maybe four or five, and that's it. Evidently, St. Pete, we're a tourist town. So we
Right.
get a lot of people touristy. So it's a little bit of a different vibe down here. So it's not quite as stable as some of the, like Jacksonville's much, much bigger. So you have a little bit more stability. If you look on a map, St. Pete is very, very small and it's just like a little blip. So there's not a whole lot here. But I've been studying Corellianism, paganism. Um, I have a degree in psychology as well as I'm an accountant in real life. So that kind of, everybody says that's pretty much at odds. If you're a psychologist, how do you, deal with being a pagan? And believe it or not, it's pretty easy because what I do makes sense. Uh,
Right.
and what we do in other places don't. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Um, and I've had a lot of different groups that I've been with over the years. So I have been with the Dianics, I've been with some Alexandrians, I've been with some Gardnerians. So I come in bringing a lot of experience from a lot of different groups. So this one fits me, I think, the best. I have a lot of fun with the Corellian tradition. It's a large tradition, and it includes the one thing I do like, and I've always said that they include both guys and girls in the tradition, which a lot of them don't. And what most do not is include the kids. And the Corellian tradition does include the children. They're welcome at ritual. They're welcome at anything we do, within reason. And I
Right.
think that,
Depending
yeah,
on the person, depending on the temple and who's running it, they might have a rule about that, but which is perfectly fine. But we do have a children's ministry that, is there.
and it's really nice that we're willing to work with our children and teach them because I've always said if you don't teach your kids somebody else will, and you might not like what they teach them. Lord Don has always been open to having children in the circle. He's always been very proactive and including children in lustration, and having children's events at lustration. So he's always been a big proponent of, because he grew up in the tradition. So it's like, okay, well, we need our children to grow up in the tradition so they understand what's going on. And
Right.
as a mom, a grandmom, and a great grandmom now, I can tell you I have four generations who are studying, and you study till the day you die. Let's just be really honest about that. So I
Oh,
have four generations that fully embrace paganism and witchcraft. So we're just passing along what we're doing. Um, and the tradition just seems to be very open to doing that kind of thing so that you can bring your family in and not feel really like you're ostracized. Like most of them, if you've ever, like in Baltimore, they used to have announcements in the paper, if you have children, don't bring them.
oh wow.
Yeah, because it was an adult thing. They
Right.
didn't want their circle interrupted, where it's it is what it is, but if you're not teaching your children actively, they're not going to learn it. Because remember, when you got drugged to Sunday school every week, that was actively participating in a religion.
Right.
So, we get the same advantage. We get to drag our kids to ritual twice a month, kicking and
Like you
screaming.
said, with yeah, and like you said, within reason. I mean, if they're going to be disruptive, don't be disrespectful to the rest of the crew, the rest of the group. But I mean, if they're,
And
when
you
it
do a lot.
involves them.
You do a lot with the children's ministry. So you want to fill us in on some of the children's ministry that you work with.
Yeah, so I work with Lady Angela Munn. We started um, doing a scouts group a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now. I think four. Um, and we sort of wanted to. We didn't have anything in the tradition yet, so we wanted to. And the scouts program that we were a part of, it wasn't age appropriate. So for badge work, it would have like the same thing for Fiona, who's my youngest and is 4, as my middle child, who's 12. So it didn't we wanted to kind of change it up, but we also wanted to Corellianize it, so, and you're helping with that. And I know Reverend Stacy Blair is helping also with that. So we have a good little team. And it really started because Haley always went with me to the adult rituals here in Jacksonville at Compassion League Temple, which is headed by Lady Angela. And she's always done it since she was like 7 or 6. Because I've always known that I was a witch ever since I was like could think. 2 or 3. I mean, my favorite books had witches. My favorite movies had witches. That I was very connected to nature. I mean, all the sirens were going off. And I went to, I did the church thing on and off for like 10 years, a non-denominational church. I was baptized twice. My husband jokes that it didn't take. So, but then when I was connected, and I think we talked about this before, the synchronicities. I took a tarot class at a local metaphysical shop, and there was one other student in that whole class, and it was Reverend Miranda Favreau, and and we learned off of each other. And then she's like, "You really should come with me to a group, one night," and it was Compassion League Temple. And it just clicked. I was like, yes, this is how I've always been, because I had been eclectic and solitary. And what's funny about going to Angela's house that first time, Angela and I had taken a shaman rattle making class out at the beaches a year before that. And so we recognized each other and we're like, oh my gosh, we made like rattles together. And we have pictures to prove it, And I think we were even sitting right smack next to each other. And yeah, and I made this rattle, and some of Haley's baby teeth are in there. And I drew this owl. And because barn owl is my totem. Owl is my totem, but specifically the barn owl. So to sort of wrap up the scouts thing, Haley was always part of ritual, and she really, really liked it. And we wanted to come up with something where it was, tradition based. And when we created that, it gave an opportunity for it to just be adult time at the rituals. And now we have the kids where it can be focused on the kids. And of course, Haley will still come and do ritual. I mean, she did the lustration. She had a part in the lustration ritual last year on Zoom, and she also did opening ceremony for for Circle at Jack's Pagan Pride when she was 8. So I mean, she's been pretty involved, and she's been dedicated to the tradition now. A year ago, last November, and she has her own first degree book that she's working on. And Fiona, my 4-year-old, is naturally gravitating that way as well. So it's just really something that we're passionate about. And I've been with the tradition for 6 years now. And I know you have way more on me.
No, I didn't know you were there that long. I thought,
Yeah, I've looked back at my certificate and I was like, oh man, I have been here for a minute. It was January 4th of 15, I believe. But yeah, and so the rest is history. I absolutely love being part of the tradition. It's a big family. We all support each other in all of our various projects. And the other thing that I'm a part of is, well, 2 other things, and then you can talk about yours. I also, and we've talked about it already, I run the Order of Hersini, which is the cannabis order for the tradition, and it talks about the historical aspects, the medicinal, the magical, and we have a fun bunch. We share a bunch of articles and memes, and we have fun, but it's also very educational. We're always learning from each other different things, and we share our experiences if we want. And it's completely private. It's a private group. It's searchable on Facebook, and the only requirement is to be outer court for the tradition. And the application can be found at corellian.weebly.com. and you just fill out the application, turn it in, and you're not obligated to do anything in the tradition if you don't want to, but it gives you a lot more access to great things that we have in the tradition, like different groups and orders and things like that. Um, and then lastly, I am also senior editor for the Corellian Times, which is our monthly newsletter alongside with Pam and Chief Stacy Blair, and also with Ebony Nash, and DJ does our Spanish, and Marika is doing our Dutch translation. And I do the Crystal Cavaliers, which is the children's section. And then we all sort of write various different articles and fill them in. And we always need readers and writers. Well, we need readers too. Geez, I meant writers. We always need writers. And if you even have like something you want us to write about, or something you want to know more about, or you're interested in being a writer, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a monthly commitment. It could just be here and one or the other, you can email corelliantimes@gmail.com, and we also have a Facebook page as well.
So you see, we're not just doing the show. We are very busy people.
Yes.
Plus, we both work full-time jobs.
Yes, and I'm an auto loan officer at a bank for the past 13 years, so, and I did various bank things before.
She's going to do my next auto loan. I've already
Yes.
figured that one out. Um, I have been with the tradition for quite some time. I've had many different positions. Right now, I am actually the leader for Virtual Circle, which is our learning ritual. These rituals are done on the full and dark moons and all the high holy days. And the rituals are, we're teaching you to write rituals. So I've written the rituals, but now we're getting into where everybody's starting to participate.
Mhm.
It's a year long cycle that we're doing. So we'll be ending it at the end of this year. You're welcome to jump on anytime you want to. Um,
It's
right
really
now, I'm actually looking for people for the Tigger ritual. Yes, we are doing the Tigger ritual, okay? We're going to have some fun.
yes,
The rituals that I write are, they're rituals, okay? And they all have everything they need to have in them. So it's going to give you enough to put in your book of shadows. So
right.
that was our basis, was to, because I've been teaching this for, I would say, a good 15 years I've been teaching. So the kind of what we're doing with is we're taking the rituals, we're trying to teach you how to write a ritual by letting you experience ritual in a couple of different nuances: dark moon, full moon, and at the Sabbaths. So at the end of the year, you should have 12 dark moons, 12 full moons, and the 8 Sabbaths. The Sabbath,
And you do provide the printout, so
uh,
you can go back under the files tab of your Facebook page, because that's really
right.
helpful. 'Cause then you could just print it out and put it in your bookshelves.
And it's to give you a basis to work with. Many, many eons ago, when I started, there really wasn't any basis. So your rituals were like really weird because you didn't know what to do. You knew you cast a circle, you kind of called quarters, and you got goddess in there. And at that point, you're like, now what do I do?
Right.
The active power is difficult to think about. But fortunately, we have been blessed with having the different moons for the different full moons are already named. And we go back, like a protection moon, we'll do a protection spell. Different moons have different reasonings behind them. Now, dark moon is 99% used for your shadow work. So they're kind of repetitive. I threw some fun rituals in there. So we will be doing the Tigger, and then later on, we're going to be doing the chocolate ritual, because that's just, you got to have some fun.
I'm excited for that one. I'm
I
excited.
love those
I'm
things.
excited for Tigger too.
And at the end, we do shut off, we do videotape, we do go online. We're on paganworld.net. All the places you can find us here, you can find Virtual Circle. And what will happen as not only do we have the ritual, we go through the entire ritual, but then we turn the recording off after the ritual so that we can answer some of the questions that you might have. Because some people are very shy about answering questions, some people don't want to be online, and I get that. It's not a problem. So, we also have where you can write in and ask questions if you're unsure about how a ritual should go, or if you just have some questions on quarter calls and things of that nature. So, what we're going to try to do is after July, a lot of the rituals are going to be right now, it's me and my cohort, Mary Hawk. We're reading the ritual, we're giving you the information. We're going to start more audience participation because now we're getting to the point where we've done them for a few months. You guys got a little bit under your belt, you're going to do it. So,
Right.
it's just
And
a
they're really awesome. I'm always
and
there.
they're a lot of fun. It is not 100% Corellian. Some of my rituals I've had to tweak to make Corellian. So if you're not Corellian and you're just really interested in ritual and not sure how to go about it, you can pop on, you can download what I've already written, and you can always tweak it to your however you want to do it. So if it's tweaking it towards your tradition, or if you see like, oh, I really like the way that's written, but I don't want to do it in that month, I want to do it in this month, then you can actually change it. It's not a big deal.
Right.
All of our Sabbats do come out of Lord Don's Ritual and Theory and Practice. So if you are Corellian, you have to take that class anyway. So how can it be more fun? You take it with us because you're
That's
going to be doing the rituals right out of the book. Mary and I go through and we decide which act of power we're going to use, and it's usually something that will convey better in a Zoom group. So there are a lot better acts of power to do if you're in a group or if you're doing it on your own. We're trying to pick the ones that convey better over the Zoom group.
right.
So we're trying not to do something that requires a lot of audience participation because we don't think we're going to get any. So, you just can't. It's really hard, like the divination things and all. I can't hand you a card. It's very difficult, but it's that kind of thing. I do write for the newspaper. I'm an Am I just an assistant editor or am I senior editor? I
You're
don't
a
know.
senior.
I'm a senior editor. I'll tell you, I don't even know. They just, it was like, Pam, would you like to write an article? Yeah. And before you know it, trust me, you're like sucked right up into this. And so I'm going like, okay, I don't even know what I'm doing. Um,
Right.
I do some editing. I write a lot. You think I talk a lot? You should read what I write.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
And I
articles.
edit that writing and
She has
pop
to
it.
edit me.
I
So
do.
you can send all of your prayers to her
Thanks.
because she's the one that's got to go through my crap and read it and go, oh my God, what was she saying?
No,
Um,
you always do awesome stuff.
and I
You
write a
all
couple
do.
different articles.
It's a great newspaper. Everyone does such an amazing job on their articles.
I am surprised by the number of articles we have and the number of subjects that we cover. It is not a tradition newspaper, it is a pagan wide newspaper.
It absolutely is.
Everything in that newspaper, regardless of whether it's the men's green tent, the rainbow tent, the red tent, those are very important tents. And
Yes.
it's wonderful. We have the writers who DJ and Chad and myself. We get in there and we write about the different things that happen at those tents. So right there, you've got a whole you know bunch of stuff that's written from the heart. You've got the mental health. You've got the physical health. You've got beauty. I love Reverend Corey's articles on beauty. She is fabulous. She'll give you all these little beauty tips, little things just to do. Moisturize your skin. You don't realize as a young person if you don't keep the moisture on, it does dry out over the years.
Yeah.
And she has some fabulous tips in there, very quick. And it's all down to earth stuff. It's none of this go out and spend $400 on this product. It's little things that you can do. So she really gives you a lot of good information. Um,
And
and
Dee
then,
Dee, the astrology,
oh, the astrology.
and Lord Don and Lady Stephanie always do an article. And oh man, the if you're watching this on Sunday, the second, the newspaper for May would come out yesterday. So please, you can go to Corellian Times. We always put it there. We put it in the Corellian Hub under the files. We're working on a website, so it's more, centralized. But go read it. And we always pop in a coloring page. We have a craft section, a kitchen witch section, a Crone's corner. I mean,
Crossword
holiday of the month. We have a calendar of events for the tradition.
birthday. They have a whole
We have,
birthday
we
section.
have birthday. We have initiation section, so we can recognize people that have been initiated and they want to, have their name, and it's cool. You worked for it. Why not?
It's kind of a paper that I see it as an ambassador to the whole pagan community at large, because nothing in there, there are a few things that are very specifically Corellian, but 90% of what goes into that newspaper is the pagan heart. So you can read
Yeah.
about the different orders that we have. You can read about, okay, maybe you're not in our group, but you might want to know about the next ritual that's coming up, a little bit about the next holiday. There's going to be something written in there about the holiday that's coming up. There's going to be something written in there about your, every month there's an awareness. Every month has an awareness to it, some kind of disease or something. So every month you can look in there and you can see, oh wow, like February is usually heart because it's Valentine's Day and it's usually associated with heart disease. So February is heart month. So February had all these wonderful articles. Some of them were actually women's articles, because we women have to understand our heart attacks are different from a man. So you had all that in there. I mean, it was really interesting. So it's not just centrally just for us.
Right, exactly.
So it's something for everybody to look at. With the tradition, I've run a couple temples over the years. I am now temple free. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I've been everybody's like, "Ooh, you don't have a temple you're assigned to." No, I'm
We've
a maverick right now.
but we've kind of adopted you at CLT, don't lie.
Yeah, CLT's kind of adopted me because I like to go over there a lot because they do a lot of fun things. Um, but that's a little bit about who we are. I mean, we are not. This is not our life. This little podcast. We live very active lives.
Very.
Um,
Gosh.
Melinda's
I am happily married 14 years, and I have a 22-year-old daughter, a 12-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old daughter. I have all levels of hormones going on. So, and I mean, my 22-year-old did just move to Tallahassee. She flew the nest, and I had a bit of a go with that. It hit me harder than I expected, but she's doing great, doing her paralegal stuff. But yeah, we're always busy.
And it's funny because people think that, oh, well, this is all we do. I'm on this broadcast. I'm doing virtual circle. I've done interviews. I've been doing interviews for the last 20 years. Um,
And shout out, I just did an interview on Cloud's podcast, Cloud and Lady Book Dragon Sam. And she's just so cool. And I love Cloud. He knows that. He's my bro. Um, and on their podcast, Witchcraft Grenade, we just recorded that. Yes, I know. We just recorded that on Tuesday.
I say it was just this week.
Yeah, so we did it well, tonight's Wednesday. We did it last night, but if you're watching this Sunday, it would have been Tuesday. But yeah, and it was the 420 episode because of the order. And it kind of worked out because we rescheduled, and it worked out that we rescheduled because I was able to talk about the festival.
Okay.
And that's the shirt that I'm wearing. She's wearing her birthday shirt. I'm wearing the festival shirt. It has the date on the back and everything. And all
Yeah,
the dates.
that was a lot of fun. But you can see that we're not just, I mean, people think that this is all we do, and it's like, well, what is a witch? A witch is a very busy person.
And
Okay, let
you're a
me,
mentor. You're also a mentor. I
I will
started
say
I
that.
I started my mentor class, so I'm going to be working on that. And
In a
we're
witch
also
school.
we're also yes, witchschool.com,
Witch school.
and we also both are in the shaman training. So we are doing
So
lots.
if we're not doing classes, we're taking classes. So
Yeah,
when you
always
look
learning.
at us, it's like people go, "Oh, well, that's all you do." And it's like I work 40, I've never worked a 40-hour week. I work 50 to 60 hours a week. My
Right.
roommate will attest to that because we work at the same place and she always gets home before me. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah.
Um, so we work. Weekends for me are a lot of times I'm traveling to Jacksonville to do something there, which I will be next weekend.
Yes.
Mother's Day weekend, I'll be up there.
We're doing our Beltane. We pushed it out a bit because we
Lustration.
have lustration, and then we didn't do it the week before because we were at the festival.
We were a festival. So we do a lot of things. We just want to let people know that, we have a lot going on, but we really do put 100% into our show. As you guys know, we really do background check on everything we talk about. We don't come to the table without us paperwork. When you see my desk, you'll know there's paperwork. Well, you can actually see it here. There's paperwork everywhere. And it's because yeah, we have our notebooks. Everybody laughs. I have my notebooks. But it's paperwork. We got to go through stuff. We check stuff out. So we do dedicate some time and a lot of love to the show.
Oh
We'd
yeah,
love to hear from you guys. Right now, we're running a special where if you know the name or the word,
the keyword.
the
And we're
keyword.
going to be drawing. It's going to be on until tonight on Sunday, May 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern time is the cutoff time. If you email the keyword to teatimemc@gmail.com, and that's time like the herb, Thyme, email us the correct answers, and we will put you on a spinny wheel and draw your name to win some tea time merch.
So,
So,
and we really are doing that. We're very excited about it. We were at the festival and we got noticed. We had our tea time totes with us, of course,
yeah,
and we were showing them off to everybody. And we got stopped by a couple of different people who were very much
yeah, we got,
interested in the
we got
fact
stopped
that
by quite a few.
yeah, the fact that one, we were witches, two, we were interested in cannabis, and three, we were stopping at everybody, and everybody was like, "Oh my goodness!" So don't be surprised if you see some of us popping up, either her or I, on different shows, because there were a lot of podcast people there that were very interested in the pagan community, because the pagan community at large is not always represented at these kinds of things. We're there, but we don't represent. So we just kind of slide in and don't say anything.
Right. And we're even talking about possibly being a vendor at the festival next year.
Yeah,
There were some we were very excited. There were some very witchy things at the vendors.
there
Like
really was.
Pam got, I mean, there were like incense holders and they were cannabis themed for the most part. But triple moons, a moon phase clock that Pam got. I got an incense burner and all sorts of stuff. And Amanda got a bunch of stuff. And it was just a lot of fun. And we even had a woman right there at the Canamom tent. And they were based out of Miami. They were such cool people. And they were interested in Wicca and paganism, and saw our tote bags, and she went right there and looked us up and followed us and everything. So
So don't be surprised if you see us around on different podcasts because that's part of what we're doing. We're trying to get out to the general public as a whole, but we're also trying to, to educate as we go along. So when I
yeah,
was
and
saying about
fun.
research, we do our research, we educate you, but we have fun while we're doing it because trust
Oh
me, if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't be doing this.
yes, because it's Melinda and Pam, and we have to have fun to do anything. It's
We
not going to
do.
work if it's not fun.
We
Um,
really do.
Yeah, and so the key word, and this is the last time it'll be said until the drawing, and we'll draw. So we'll announce the winner. We'll message the winner who wins, and then if you are okay with having your name, we can also announce it on the next week's show who won. and you'll get Tea Time merch, and we'll email you all for all the details and
And
stuff.
it's going to be like just your first name and what state you're from, just so
Right.
that
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
kind of knows that we're not just in one area, that, our podcast does get out.
Yeah. If when we're not going to give your full name and your city and your state, it's just going to
And
be
that
first name and state.
it would be
And
like Pam, Florida,
right. Yeah.
so nobody could, how many Pams are in Florida? You don't even want to know. So
And
it's
that's
not
why you
like we're, yeah.
email, right? And that's why you're emailing us so that it's anonymous and it's just Pam and I. But we just thought that would be something fun for you guys. And the only requirement is that you do have to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
And you go to Tea Time with Mother and Crone and just subscribe. That's the only thing. And the keyword is Hersini. Hursini. And that's the Sanskrit word for cannabis.
And I'm going to tell you, even if you just spell it the way it sounds, we'll
That's
take it.
perfectly fine. If you want to spell it Hersiny, you do that.
Do that. If we can figure it out, we're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But every week for the next 10 weeks, we've got merchandise. And if it goes well, we might extend it beyond that because we just want to get out there. But if you're interested in our merchandise, and we're going to start our webpage soon, we're going to actually have the merchandise on there to purchase. But right now, you can't buy our merchandise.
Yeah.
Nobody can buy our
You need
merchandise.
a tea time mug for your herbal tea while you enjoy the show every Sunday.
So the only way you're going to get it is through us. So if you want something, the merchandise is going to run the gamut of different things. Now, for those of you who are watching Lustration, there's a thing called a silent auction.
Yes.
Our merchandise is at the silent auction. You may have the ability, if you bid high enough, to get some of our merchandise. So if you're Corellian and you're watching this, get on the silent auction now. You didn't hear that from me. But if you get on the silent auction, I'll tell you, I am the world's worst at that auction because it's like I
It
get
there's
everything I want.
there's so many awesome things every time we do it. I mean, just
And
really awesome things.
poor Mike Neal. Bless you, Mike Neal, because Mike Neal has to deal with me every auction. And
And
it's
then I
like,
got into the mix last time, and Mike and I were going back and forth, and I was like, like bid, outbid, and I was like, drat.
you know, and Mike is so sweet. You've been
He's,
outbid again. And I'm like, "Duh,"
I
Um,
know, almost like he feels bad to tell us we've been outbid, and it's like,
yeah.
it's okay,
But
thank
I recommend just going on there. I mean, if you don't bid for us, I will cry. But other than that, there's a ton of other stuff for the tradition. You cannot imagine what people are giving up to go on the silent auction. Some people like us actually buy merchandise to put on there. There's all sorts of stuff you can get. There are a lot of people who are extremely talented and make some really cool stuff, and you sit there and go, oh my gosh.
you. Yeah.
Like I'm going to point here to Reverend Corey, who does our corelliums. She has a couple different sizes. She usually ends up putting one up in the auction. If not, you can get a hold of her, Reverend Corey. um,
Or you can just email the show. I got connections.
we got connections. We'll get you
Right.
hooked.
We'll get
But
you. We'll get her information.
I'm going to tell you to go on there and just see all the really cool stuff because there's a ton of stuff on there. And you really do want to get on there early so you can start looking at it, so you can start deciding on how much money you're going to spend on each thing. Because my problem is I get on there and it's like, oh, I want that, 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 that. Oh, no, I can't afford all that. So you
Yeah.
have to, chill out a little bit, pull back, and figure out what you're going to spend it on. But we are on there with our merchandise. And like I said, if you want some of our merchandise, you cannot purchase it anywhere right now. We don't even have it up on, we don't even have websites. We don't even have it on a website yet. So
This
if
is
you
for the exclusive, like
exclusive,
exclusive listeners that are fans. And it's just something fun, and you who doesn't like a mug, you know, a cute one.
It's a lot of fun. As time goes on, we will have other things on our site, but right now we're doing the 10 weeks. Remember the name or the item that we talk about. We're going to say the name a few times. Hersini, Hersini, Hersini. Um, Plug that in with your email to our email account. And at the end of the night, Mylinda's going to go through everything and figure out how to do this because I'm totally technically challenged on that
I
part of
got
it.
it. I already know how to. I got it handled.
Got it. I don't. And we will ask, we're going to put you out there if you want to be, first name and your mug.
Yeah.
If you have been so graced with some of our merchandise, because we have given some of it away at different venues that we've been at, send us a
In
picture of
different
you in your
brands.
in
Yeah.
your in your attire or holding your mug, and just give us a
And
name
you don't
and
have
state.
to. You don't have to include your face if you don't want to. But we do think it would be cool, whoever has the merch, to go on our Facebook page and do a little selfie or a little picture or something, or a picture of your mug in front of your garden or whatever your thing. And just like your state would be cool to see where you guys are all listening from. That would be awesome.
Because it's a
You
lot of
don't have
fun.
to, no pressure. It would just.
Now, if you've already seen the illustration, you know that we're in 29 countries. Our illustrations are done internationally, which is no small feat.
No.
I'm going to tell you, I won't even begin to tell you the nightmare of putting all of it together and getting everybody on at the same physical time. And you're talking 29 countries, you're talking at least 6 or 7 time zones. And
Hmm.
so everybody who comes together that does illustration is whatever time you're at, it's whatever time their time zone is. So there are some people who are
They're
gracious
usually
enough.
yeah, they're usually pretty good about putting a time on it. It'll start it was at noon, so we try to do it, but everyone is always so great. And whatever time zone it is, whoever has a part, they're always amazing. And it's really just, and we've talked about it before. The illustration last year was the first time we ever did anything like that on Zoom, where it was international, where no matter where you were, if you had a computer and internet, you can take a part if you wanted to. And it was just so neat knowing that Ira and Iblis are in Spain right now while I'm in Florida doing this beautiful ritual together. And so many people,
I don't know. I think the best
Chile,
thing for me is to hear it in all the different languages.
yes. And Reverend Brian did
Oh,
German.
German.
When he did the German part, oh, and I'm German, but I don't speak it. 1 to 20 is all I have, but it was so awesome.
To hear it done in as many languages as it was done last year, I can't even tell you how many. It was so awesome because you're reading along, you have the script, you're reading it, and you're hearing all these languages, and it gets you to tear up because you're thinking, oh my goodness, these are my brothers and sisters in the spiritual path all over the world. So, can you imagine just going anywhere in the world and being able to find out where there's a Corellian that you can hang out with and do ritual with? I mean, to me, that's something that back in the day we couldn't even literally find somebody in your neighborhood,
Right.
and now we're telling you go anywhere in the world and you'll find one of us. So I'm like going, oh my goodness. They did, was it Spain or Portugal they did last year?
I think
Somebody.
Spain. I mean, Ira and Iblis were in Spain, but and then there were people from Mexico and Venezuela and South Africa. I mean, it was just all over.
Wasn't a poo there?
Philippines, yes, he
Philippines.
was
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so it was really awesome. But we are gonna wrap it up. It's supposed to be a short show tonight, but also Reverend um, Raven Wolf Greenfield, excuse me, Tim has started his mediumship 365. So you can catch those on Pagan World and you'll find them on Facebook. And Lord Don does a Chancellor chat every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, isn't he doing a zooming? They're calling it zooming. Isn't he doing a zooming thing like every so often? I think he's doing where he zooms with different
Well,
groups.
he just started doing the pagan leadership of today and tomorrow, Zooming. It's not every single week, of course, because he's so busy. But the first one was with the Corellian Times. So we were a part of that interview, and it was really great. And the next one is going to be with the Paladins, which I'm also a part of.
So there's a lot going on. I mean, there's so many things going on. I really, people tell me, well, what are you doing in your group? And I'm like, oh my God, do you have an hour? I
What
can
aren't we
maybe
doing?
cover part of it
Right.
because
Whew.
our group is constantly doing something. The Corellian Times is one way to find out a little bit more about our group because you can get on there and you can see the other groups that are in there. And there's I'm not even going to try to tell you how many orders there are because when I started, we had maybe a dozen. We have at least 2 dozen, 3 dozen orders now.
Yeah.
And let me put this out to you. If you're Corellian and you don't see an order that you want, I'm going to tell you to start it because it's available.
Yeah, there's a process, and that's what I did. I'll be coming up a year on May 18th on my mama's birthday. So
So it's a great group. We have a lot of fun together, but as pagans as a whole, because you got to remember, we just don't celebrate just Corellians. When we
yeah,
do things, we do it with larger groups or at large, Jacksonville Pagan Pride, Nefelplick. I mean, there's a lot of groups that we're all in. So if you are interested in something, or you want to be interested in something, or you want us to be interested, jump on our Facebook page and let us know because there's a lot of things going on. We can't begin to run down a list of the 9 million things that are happening.
right, in
So,
the pagan community as a whole, right. So let us know. We'll give you, we'll look into it, give you a plug, because it's all about supporting the pagan community as a whole.
and that's why we support our brothers and sisters who are artists, physical artists like Reverend Corey, and I'm going to pull his out again, he loves me, and Cloud, who
Yeah.
just released, he had another
He
single.
released another single and he's working on his next album, which I'm super excited for. And he performed at Lustration Friday night concert. So, which hasn't happened yet, but I'm very excited about it. But it'll have happened by the time you might
By
be
the
seeing
time you
this.
see this.
Right.
So, if you are Corellian and you have something and haven't gotten in touch with us, well, darn you, and send it to us.
Yeah.
We are shameless at plugging. Trust us. They will tell you. Poor Cloud. I pull this thing out more times than I care to admit, and I'm always pulling his out because I don't have another one. So if I get another album, I can pull that out too. So his
Yeah.
other album should be out what
I
in
think he's shooting for August.
August? Okay, I
Release
was going to say
tonight. Don't
September.
hold him to that. And I'm sorry. Hopefully, holy shit. I hope I wasn't supposed to not say that. I'm sorry.
But I know
Um,
working on one. So if
yeah,
you
it's tentative. Just be excited. It's coming.
I mean, there are people who are single artists like Reverend John Anastasio, who,
Oh,
oh, open mic night, yes,
folk
okay.
singer, shaman, Reiki. He's got the whole
He's
thing.
got the whole thing going on. So that's another one. He's St. Augustine, Jacksonville. So, you look for him at open mics and he's there. So, I mean, there's a lot of us out here who have some talent. Let
And
us know.
he's also an author of a very amazing book.
I have the book.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. I have the book. Um, and I recommend, if you want to know something, don't know it, aren't sure, don't hesitate to give us a holler in our Facebook or on our email. We will
Mhm.
get back to you. And if it's interesting enough, trust us, we'll put it on.
Oh, for sure. And his book, by the way, is Reclaiming Your Sacred Path. And you can find it where bookstores are,
Very
where books are sold.
amazing book. I have the book. Shameless plug. I have the book. And I recommend, if you want to know something, don't know it, aren't sure, don't hesitate to give us a holler in our Facebook or on our email. We will get back to you. And if it's interesting enough, trust us, we'll put it on.
Oh, for sure. And it,
Okay, well, we covered most of what we were going to do tonight. In fact, we went way over on our time, but that's okay. That happens with us a lot. Um, we're not going to apologize now, but we wanted to let you know a little bit about who we were and what
sorry,
we
I
are.
have no idea how what happened. I have like an entity in my computer.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It just repeated everything I said. It was like really
Well,
cool.
our YouTube, so we're streaming on our YouTube. If you're a subscriber, you get a sneak peek of the show on Wednesday as we live record before it goes out on Sunday. And it just popped up by itself and started like playing on YouTube like a whole other window. I didn't even touch anything. So, yeah.
Okay, that's called an exorcism on your computer this weekend.
Right? That was so creepy.
Now,
So, yeah, you'll never know what you're going to get on our show.
next weekend is going to be another crazy show because we will be on the road again, I guess, because I'm going to be over there with you on the
Yeah.
weekend. So it's going to be, we're going to do the Wednesday night, but we may end up slamming some pictures into it from Saturday night or from whatever we're doing. Got to be a
Yeah.
little careful about what we show pictures of.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
oh, yeah, because we get a little wild and crazy.
It's going to
But
be fun.
yeah, we do. We have a lot of fun. But again, if you guys want to know something or you're not sure about something, the Corellian tradition is around whichschool.com. My goodness, if you can't find something on there, you're like, I just give up.
Right. Lots of good stuff. And it's not just Corellian based. There's like voodoo classes, there's fairy classes, there's herb classes, there's all sorts of stuff. And if you are interested in joining the tradition and doing the clergy path, you have all of that as well. So,
Right. And there's a lot of mentors. Our group is one of the few that actually gives mentors. I know because I've been a mentor for, I won't tell you how many years, but I handle first, second, and third degrees. I run the whole gamut. So it's you've got someone who you can actually call, contact, ask questions of, get a little pep talk from, or just, you're confused and not sure what it's doing it, what you
right.
need, to back you up. We're there for you as
Yes.
mentors. That is our job.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
and you get them free. So it's a free service that we offer. And it's something that a lot of students really enjoy because you do get the experience of your mentor, but you also, when we start mentoring you, we open you up and you're going, oh my goodness, because we
Yeah.
just show you everything there is to have at which school and through the Corellian tradition as a whole. So
Yes.
again, we've got a million different things to do. Sign up. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of this is who we really are.
Yeah.
And next week, we have no clue what we're doing, but we'll be here.
Yeah, we will. And we do. We just have to look at our schedule again. We were on vacation last week and it was birthday weekend.
No,
Um
it's still on birthday week.
yeah, there you go. There you go. But yeah, just let us know if you're interested in anything that you want us to talk about. We will totally do that. We're excited. Thank you always for your support. And yes, it was supposed to be a short getting to know Mother and Crone, but you know us. We talk. So, you know, you like it
Yeah,
anyway.
that's why we have an executive producer who will kill us later.
Yes.
But right now, he's going to love us because I think we plugged everything. Is there anything we haven't plugged tonight?
We tried. I mean, yeah, and for second
Pagan.world
pagan, yeah, pagan.world, and also I think the second Saturday of the month is red tent
and green tent.
and green tent the Zooms. And I can't remember, I'm sorry, DJ. I can't remember right now the days for the rainbow tent. But it's all on the Corellian time. So go look and we have all that stuff in there. So we have something for everyone.
And actually, when you see this broadcast, if you didn't sneak peek it, the times came out yesterday. So you
Yes.
can jump on and you can
And
look at
you can
stuff.
always go back to Corellian Membership Hub, which is a public Facebook group if you're a member, and also to the Corellian Times Facebook page, which is public. And we always have every past edition in there that you can go back and read as well.
So jump on, take a look at the paper, if nothing else. Don't forget, enjoy the silent auction. Have fun with it because it's always a great time. And there's
Yeah.
some really special stuff on there. And look into which school. Just see, you don't have to, sign up for a year, for a lifetime or anything. Just go
There's
on, take a
free
couple classes.
classes. There's like over 30 free classes that you can take
Right.
without a membership. And if you get a membership, you just have like a crazy amount more that you can do.
Right, but
It's worth
just jump on, see if you like it. If you have any questions, even about which school, the Corellian tradition, or just basic pagan questions, because let me tell you, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that's kind of what Melinda and I have been trying to do is give you guys some real information. That's why we do the research on our shows, and we do give you as much as we can. But please go out there, ask our questions, ask the questions, put it in our Facebook, put it in our email account. We will get back to you.
Absolutely. Well, it was so much fun. We can go on forever if we really wanted to, but we're not going to do that.
Not
And
much longer. I'm almost out of wine, so we can only
yeah,
go on for a little bit longer.
there you go. There you go. Well, yeah, and kids have a dentist appointment in the morning, so woo. Although their dentist is like super fun, so they're crazy excited. You would think they're going to Disney World.
Now,
Like
there
it's not
is a
dentist.
silly broadcast that we didn't mention, which is CCF.
Yes.
Call us about that one. I'm
Yeah,
putting that one out
do
there.
have fun. We do have fun with our Friday nights as well.
So
But
thanks for joining us and putting up with our wonderful short intro.
yes, that's okay. We'll beg for forgiveness later. They love us. All
They
right. We love you all. Thank you again for the support. Keep a lookout for the winner. We'll let you know. And again, that's teatimemc@gmail.com. THYME, not like telling time. And the keyword one last time is Hersini.
Hercini, however you spell it.
Exactly.
Thanks. We'll see you next week.
Bye.